Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me?
Yes.
Glad to see everyone again. Mary O'Leary, you made it on time this time. Congratulations. I have just a few updates, and then I'm going to hand it over to other staff on the call. So we have 16 confirmed cases now. As always, we believe there are many more in New Haven, but given the limitations on testing and the time of the turnaround of tests, the number of confirmed cases still remains relatively low. We have a number of firefighters and several police officers. Firefighters, some of them have symptoms, and I'll hand it over to Chief Alston in a sec to talk about that. And two police officers, one with symptoms and another with a relative that has symptoms, or a relative that tested positive. Not surprising because given the number of communities or the level of community spread right now, not surprising that our public safety officers, some of them are also at risk. Just want to express my thanks to them for being on the front lines and putting themselves in harm's way to help protect so many New Haven residents in this very difficult time. On the homeless front, so our decompression of shelters, in other words, reducing the number of individuals in the shelters so that we don't have so many individuals so close together, and allowing them to practice social distancing. That program is going quite well. The state has also, through the Department of Housing, been working to reduce the density at the shelters. And through our combined efforts in New Haven, we now have a total of 84 individuals living in hotels. And on the career high school, just one note of progress, we still have not stood up the facility. The police department has visited the site and has a plan on keeping the site secure. And we were very grateful to Cornell Scott Hill Health Center for donation of PPE that will significantly contribute to our ability to stand up this site soon. N95 masks were, as I said, looking in every spot available to find them. And our public school staff has found some from the Sound School. We found 400, ESIMS we found 100, and some other schools, 1,000 rubber gloves. So we're deeply appreciative to New Haven Public Schools staff for helping us increase our supply. Obviously, it's very far from the number that we need, but it's times like this when it's really helpful for our staff and community members to make sure that we're keeping our first responders safe. 6,400 meals were given out yesterday to over 3,000 families through our New Haven Public Schools meal distribution network. And before I turn it over to other folks, I just wanted to take a moment to congratulate my team. We have an incredible group of people that have been working around the clock for many days now. And I'm so appreciative of the leadership, the selflessness, the focus on responding and making sure that we're preparing New Haven for what's to come. And many people, or a number of people on this call, but also folks from everyone from people that are still picking up the trash every day to our nurses, to so many individuals in the city that are coming to work even though they're concerned about their family and they're concerned about this difficult time. So with that, maybe Director Bond, do you have anything to add, or should I hand it over first to Chief Alston?
I think you can hand it over to Chief Alston.
Okay, Chief Alston.
Good afternoon all, and thank you, Mayor, for the message I'll pass on to my team. I'm very proud of the work our public safety sector is doing, both in responding to our normal emergencies and now with the increase in the number of calls involving COVID-19 and COVID-19-like symptoms. We do have about 4 firefighters that we are monitoring and we're having tested. The reason why we're doing that is until the test is done, it is not confirmed whether it's COVID-19. We're being very cautious about that. We're isolating them and assisting them with their families and the like, and to make sure that they are provided with all the care that they need. We're working with the health department also, that when we identify potential victims, we have to be very careful. We've moved into our allergy season. So many of the sneezing, the coughing, the runny nose types of things are sometimes just associated with that. Sometimes it's just associated with the flu. We do not say that it's COVID-19 until it is a test that proves positive. And so we have policies and procedures in place. I've met with the firefighters and virtually, by the way, and also met with their crews to assuage any concerns that they have, that we are following the CDC guidelines and the local protocol guidelines. During this time, we've had 2 significant fires, one with a fatality, and our hearts go out to that family. We're just asking people to be careful. The more people are staying inside, it's the same as when we have winter and folks are inside. We're watching for electrical issues. We're watching for discarded cigarettes. We're watching for extra care while we're spending more time inside. And we're asking that the public assist us with making sure that you are practicing good hygiene, washing your hands before you're touching your nose, your eyes, and your face, and keeping social distancing is so important. The mayor has been on top of that. It is critical that there's a lot of misinformation out there. We know that social distancing works. We know that it slows down this process. That's all I have currently, Mayor.
Thanks, Chief. Chief Reyes or Director Bond, do you have anything to add, or should we open it up to questions?
Nothing to add, sir. I would open it up to questions.
Okay, any questions?
Hinting, or maybe more than that, that in a
Mary,
week.
Mary, you just cut in, or now we can hear you. Can you repeat your question, please?
Okay. It sounds like the president is broadly hinting that he may restrict, take back the order or suggestion that people practice social distancing and start to go back to work and start reopening industries. Are you, his medical team doesn't seem to agree with him on that. So with the city of New Haven, if that happens, if he tries to relax those dictates in a few weeks, will the city of New Haven keep going on its own?
Absolutely. Well, so we will not change course. Given the erratic response from Washington to this outbreak, this pandemic, I think that our local governments need to stay the course, focus, and not be distracted by leadership that is making light of a situation that is wreaking havoc on communities around the world, including our nation.
Okay. To my defense, yesterday I was late on the call because my computer went down. But today, did you say 16? Is the number up to 16 at this point now?
Correct.
Okay. And the 4 firefighters, are they? We don't know if he has it. They're all being tested. Is that the?
That's correct. They have all been relieved of duty. They are being cared for, and also we are making sure that they had expedited testing, which has taken place. To my understanding, I'll defer to the director of health, and
Okay.
they've been advised. Yeah.
Are they officers, firefighters on the line? I'm just.
Well, Mayor, I will not get into those details. I'm right at that borderline. So.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm quite sure you can understand with nearly 360 employees, we want to ensure that no misinformation goes out. So they'll be following the department guidelines.
All right.
Mr. Breen.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, first, where can people donate PPE if they have it? Could you remind me of an address for if people are interested in donating to the city? Where can they give it to?
So people should bring it to their local firehouse in New Haven. They should obviously continue to follow the instructions that I have given and my team has given about social distancing. So they should go alone. They shouldn't get closer than 6 feet to an individual at the firehouse, but they can bring them to the firehouse.
Thank you. Could you give us, you and Director Bond, give us an update on the 3 new cases since yesterday? And in particular, are any of these people associated with the rehab clinic that you mentioned yesterday?
So I can answer that. There are several that came in through our system, through our Connecticut surveillance system, and we're following up and doing contact tracing and some monitoring. They are not associated. And so that's my update regarding the new cases that just came in.
Did that
Are they
answer your question?
a little bit. Are they hospitalized? Are these older people, younger people, community spread, traveling?
So we're still collecting the information. The cases just came in. I'll be able to provide an update tomorrow, more detailed for you. But they just came in through the system, and so we wanted to make sure that we have a full scope of the understanding of how they were, the contact tracing, date of exposure and things of that nature.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Mayor, I saw on the green today that there are a number of public toilets set up. I know we had spoken about this last week in a few press briefings, but do you have any information about how many toilets there are on the green, who's maintaining them, and how long they might be there?
I can. So Mr. Scott Jackson is responsible for them, and I can get that information to you. I believe there's some in Edgewood Park and also in Fairhaven, but I can get confirmation.
Thank you. And then this is the last question I'll ask now, and then I'd love to ask some more later after other people have a chance. But do you have any updates, Mayor, from the hospital about how testing is going at the Long Wharf site, at the York Street site, if they're doing testing there, and then also how testing might be going at the new Yale site at the Prospect Sachem Garage?
Let me look at my notes here. So the hospital's done 1,419 tests so far. I don't know how many they conducted yesterday, but that's the information that I got from my call. I would just suggest reaching out to them to get more accurate information. We have a daily call with them.
And do you have any updates from the Yale testing site? I understand there's one for the Yale community at the Prospect Sachem Garage.
I would also refer you to their press person. I know they did some tests today. I'm sorry, I know that they're doing some tests. They successfully did some tests, but I'm not sure if it was today or yesterday. You'd have to confirm with them. Michael Bingham. Oh, can't hear you still.
Oh,
Can
man.
you, if you type it in the chat at the bottom, you could try it that way. While we wait, is anybody else, and until I go back to Mr. Breen, does anybody else have a question?
I have a question, Mayor.
Sure.
So you talked when you first came on, you said that there could be some officers. Did you just mean firefighters?
Firefighters and police officers, correct.
So any police officers diagnosed at this point?
Chief Reyes? Chief Reyes, there you go.
So so not at this point. The short answer is no. One of them is symptomatic, and we are working right now with the health department to get him tested.
So just one is symptomatic.
Correct.
Okay, and then did this police officer, were they exposed to any known victims or known cases?
So, I'm going to take the same stance as Chief Alston. I don't want to get into the specifics.
Okay.
I can't say that one of them is suspected but not confirmed, and the other one is symptomatic.
Okay, so there's two officers then.
Mhm.
Okay.
Stephanie, I can actually weigh in on that. There's a process. If we deem that they have been exposed or possibly symptomatic, there's an entire process. We work with the health department's epidemiologists. We run a roster of the calls that they're on, patients they may have treated, also their entire shift and the exchange shift. And then there's a process of them doing an investigation.
I think it's also important, Stephanie, to note that we are taking not just the proper precautions to vet these officers out and make sure that they're not infected, but also that we've taken significant measures to make sure we're prepared to handle if our officers do become, do contract the COVID-19 virus.
And do officers continue to share cars, and are these cars, and same with trucks? I mean, with the fire department, are they being cleaned? How is that all working?
Well, we have a system that we acquired a few weeks ago. We're probably the only ones in New England that have it. It's called an aeroclave. And what it does is it disinfects gear, people, vehicles, rooms to hospital grade. And it is certified to kill the coronavirus on contact and in air. It actually atomizes and it settles on surfaces as well. So after any of these exposures or potential exposures, we have a team that goes in and disinfects the firehouse, the equipment, and the individuals.
And they also work with us to follow the same procedures for us. Should there be any contact with an individual that gets transported, should there be an officer that has an exposure and we feel that his vehicle needs to be decontaminated. So we follow the same process with the fire department. We have also taken significant measures to prevent officer contact. And so they are practicing social distancing whenever possible among themselves. And we are trying not to put officers in the same vehicles. At this point, I think we just have one 2-person vehicle. We'll continue that practice.
Also, Mayor, have you decided whether or not to announce or release the name of this rehab clinic where we're seeing those cases?
No, but the New Haven Independent has decided that for us.
And why are you still sticking by that decision? Just to protect identity or protect privacy?
Yeah, want me to answer that, Mayor? You got it.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Marcia.
We have a duty to respecting the privacy of individuals, and so it's our responsibility to not disclose identifiable information or that can potentially identify information. So we're trying to ensure that we are adhering to that and being HIPAA compliant with those individuals that are affected. As you can imagine, this is a very trying time for many individuals that are testing positive for this.
We're trying to walk the line between making sure that the public is informed of everything that we're able to inform the public of, while at the same time making sure that people's identities are protected. And that's sometimes a difficult line to walk.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Go ahead, Tom.
I do want to say that the CEO of this clinic spoke on the record with my editor and wanted to make clear to the public what his organization is doing to protect patients and neighbors. So I don't think that, I don't want to characterize our reporting as sneakily publishing the name of someone. I know you didn't say that, but I didn't
mean it that way at all. I didn't mean it that way.
Understood. I want to ask about if the mayor, if you could speak to the impact on the complete count committee, the census efforts, particularly the city's efforts to make sure that everyone is counted now that people can start filling out the census. I know that this may be not at the front of your mind right now, but have you been thinking about the potential impact that the coronavirus pandemic will have on New Haven's complete count, and what, if anything, has the committee within City Hall charged with making sure everyone's counted? What has their response been?
So the short answer is yes, have been thinking about it. And I suspect that the coronavirus will have a significant impact on our count. I received my survey just a couple days ago. I can get Mike Piscatelli on one of these calls because he's responsible for the folks that are focusing on this daily, if that would help for a future press conference.
Yes, yeah, that'd be very helpful.
Okay.
And Mayor, could you speak to I know yesterday you said you were pleasantly surprised with how people were following the emergency reduced occupancy orders that you issued. Can you speak a bit today to that, your same reaction to how people are responding to the no social gatherings of 10 or more, and now that the governor's orders in place to shut down non-essential businesses, what kind of compliance have you seen? And are you considering issuing any stricter orders?
At the moment, no. I haven't heard a lot of complaints today. Some of the complaints that we've gotten are about people congregating in parks. I'm very reluctant to close a park. And we've had some internal discussions about how to handle that situation. But by and large, people are trying to do the right thing. I think as people start to get stir crazy, we'll have to increase the outreach and reminders to people about why this is so important.
Can you say any more about how the city is currently policing parks, if policing is the right word for limiting social
Policing
gatherings?
is not the word I would use.
What's the word that you use?
And
what's the city doing?
Yeah, so if there are reports, I will contact Chief Reyes and he will send usually the district manager out to talk with people and ask them to disperse.
And thank you. That's it from me.
Sure. Other questions?
I just have one question, just to follow up when you were talking about decontaminating fire vehicles and police vehicles. Is it done on a regular basis, or do the police or firefighters have to know that they've been in contact with someone or who has COVID-19 or may have it? I just wanted to get a sense of how often that's done. Sounds like a great process.
So certain facilities we're doing on a regular basis, the EOC, other government buildings, the dispatch center. The rest are when members have been involved in a call that they had contact with a positive, a person who is tested positive. As long as they're wearing their PPE, they are safe, but should any concerns arrive, we have a team that is dispatched to disinfect that vehicle.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thanks so much, everyone. Take care.
All right, stay safe out there.